What's up, folks? This is Kevin. Welcome to my channel, Downloads. Thanks for tuning in. We're out here in a frozen winterland. It's super cold and pretty cool. It's very icy, but anyway, let's jump into it. So, today I want to talk about gibberish. Now, gibberish is something that is conventionally, basically devoid of meaning. And so it has no intrinsic meaning. It has no conventional meaning in the normal meaning that we think of things. So, take for example, the word tree basically points to something. Like this tree behind me. Tree, it points to something that's growing from the ground up. It has usually a brown trunk. It has green leaves. But if you think about it, a tree has many different forms. You could say the tree, you could describe it in terms of it has circular petals on it, which grow out, which are leaves. But no, this tree doesn't have that. It has needles. So that description wouldn't actually describe the tree in the sense of this. So what I'm doing here is I'm pointing out the fact that this description of the tree, it doesn't explain the tree completely. What does explain the tree completely is what it does. And what it does is what it does. You can't put it into words exactly. You can put it into words, but this, unfortunately, leaves a lot out, and it leaves everything else that it might be. It limits the tree. So, what I'm going to talk to you about today is aspects of gibberish, and specifically gibberish in sound. Now, sound is something that we're fascinated with as a child. You remember when you were a kid and you used to get a stick and you used to wail on something metallic and it would make a weird sound and you go, "Woo, that's pretty cool. I like the sound of that." It has no meaning conventionally, but it is without a doubt still significance. It is still significant. Now, a lot of us lost this kind of meaning. We see everything in symbols now. So these words, we got taught language. So the language became the structure around our entire experiences. We don't see a tree completely. We see it as a descriptive device of sorts. So another thing is music, for example, is if you're listening to music void of sound is nothing. I mean, without that nonsensical, as they say, nonsensical sounds, it's just words. It's just spoken. It's spoken word. That's what makes the difference between going up and seeing a comedian and going up and seeing Iron Maiden. The sound has its own significance intrinsically with it, and it has that kind of gooey, abstract, nondescript significance that we recognize as children to be highly, highly wondrous and amazing. I mean, just take a word, take your name for example, and just say it over and over and over again. Let's take the name Bob and just pretend your name's Bob, or you could say your own name, but I'm using Bob as an example. Just by repeating it over and over, you begin to unwrap a lot of the symbolism that has been conditioned into yourself. You just say it. Bob, 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 Bob. The meaning dissipates. And so you're just left with this sound that has its own intrinsic value. It just melts into this goo of just like that, just raw gibberish. So this can be very useful, and it has been used in the past by Buddhists with the practice of Om, which Om, it uses the whole vocal range, and Om doesn't mean anything. Of course, they attribute it to the pranava, which is the eternal sound. I'm sure there's a more apt description of it, but the one that I can think of right now is the translation that I could think is the eternal ground of being, is this sound, the pranava, Om, because it uses the full range. And so monks would use this. They would say, Om, and they would practice this because this would tune their frequency into a sound that doesn't have symbols attached to it. And so it would take them out of their mind so that they could experience reality free from any kind of symbolism. Now, same thing happened actually in the 20th century with Christianity. I think it was the Episcopal Church that started getting people who were singing while speaking, and then singing in glossolalia, which glossolalia is just gibberish, basically. It's speaking in tongues. And a lot of people, a lot of the Christians saw this and saw these people doing this, these Episcopals doing this, and they were like, "This is heresy. This is not right. They seem to have become possessed, and this is demonic magic," which clergy have always been against this sort of mystical exercise. Even Thomas Aquinas was bashed for this kind of stuff because, you know, it's so devoid of meaning that it reveals what is truly at the ground of being, which is very frightening to very many people. So one of these practices is just try saying your name. You know, say your name and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and pretty soon it just becomes this noise. But not even noise, it goes beyond noise into music, into pure music. You don't go to a concert just to hear people speak. You hear it to have the instruments play with your eardrums. And that doesn't have any meaning. But it does have this intrinsic value of whatever it is. So anyway, this is my video. I also wanted to say hi to my friends and family. I'm going to be visiting California pretty soon here. I'll be there from the 6th to the 11th. So everybody watching this, I'll be down in Lodi, and I can't wait to see you guys. For everybody else, thanks for watching my video, and I'll make another one shortly. Have a great day.